Hello.
Hey, how you doing?
Fine. How are you?
Good, good.
Thanks for getting back to me so quick last week on that question I had.
Sure. Not a problem. I'm just waiting for everybody to arrive.
Yeah.
You are first.
We were out for a walk in the park, and I wanted to make sure we got back in time. So,
Yeah. So how's everything going? Good?
Oh, very well, thanks. Not much. I've been spending a lot of time with my other volunteer activity, trying to get ready for live meetings. And so there's
Yeah.
a lot of requirements.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely.
Things
So you
busy.
guys, have you been traveling at all or just staying close to home? Or?
We've been staying pretty close to home. I don't know, it's maybe about a month ago, just a month ago, we were in Massachusetts, but that was for a wedding, and we stayed in one location. We didn't move. And then we came straight back. So it was hardly, it was nice to see something else, but it was hardly a sightseeing tour.
Yeah.
How about you?
Just pretty much been here, you know. I had to go to Michigan. My sister's not well, so I had to go check on her with my nieces and nephews and everything. So, you know, it's a lot to ask them, you know. So they're even though they're in their 40s, you know, they needed to kind of chat and have perspective and stuff like that. So.
It's good to get people get together. We've been staying in contact with. We have nieces and nephews on the West Coast and in the Portland area.
How are they doing with the fires?
That's what we were talking about. The air quality is not good.
Yeah, my sister's in Seattle, and I have very good friends in the Portland and outside of Portland area. Yeah, it's just, I mean, the pictures they're posting are, you know, like it's dusk like all the time.
Yep. Our nephew, they've even put together a go bag in case they get the notice they got to leave. So
yeah,
so it's something. And we also have friends in the San Francisco area, and they have a property up in the Sierra Madres, and so I got a little worried about that. Well,
hi, Jean.
Hello, Jean. Still connecting to the audio. Yeah.
Yeah.
Hello.
Seems slow down.
Hello. How are you?
Good. How are you?
Good.
Yeah.
I have to
Wonderful.
find Dave.
Well, so.
Hold on. Okay, Dave, wrap it up. The meeting is starting. Dave was shaving. Might be a couple of minutes. There he is.
Hey.
Hey.
Hello, hello, hello.
Hello, hello, hello.
Hello.
Miss Jean, how you doing?
Good. How are you?
Good. And there's Art. Art's just a new scene for you. I don't remember this background before.
Yeah, it's the same one. Sometimes I use one of those green screen things, but this is home. So.
Welcome to the Sahara Desert.
Yeah.
So we guess Andrea, Nancy, that's everyone else, I guess, to expect.
Is Kurt coming?
No, Kurt let me know he couldn't be here tonight.
Okay. And David is.
He will be here.
Yeah.
He's on a rope. You'll just pull him in.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, Dave, come on. Sorry, I didn't mean to yell.
If I have to,
It's okay. We're still waiting on
new
Andrea
speakers now.
and Nancy too.
Mhm.
I gave Jean a call and asked if she and Dave would take the meeting notes tonight, so
Okay.
and she graciously agreed to do that, so.
Okay, great, thank you.
So if Jean looks like she's going nuts writing things down,
Don't get too technical.
oh, no, we're gonna try to avoid that.
Let me just make sure. Nope, nobody's in the waiting
Okay,
room.
Dave, come on.
Well, we still, Nancy needs to show up.
Oh, that's true.
Nope, Andrea's coming in now.
Okay, here's an Andrea.
There's, we still need Nancy. But
Hello, Andrea.
Hello.
Hi.
So what's the view out your window, Andrea? That window behind you?
611.
Ah,
Oh, I just need to get my agenda. I'll be right back.
okay.
okay.
I'm gonna go see if I can drag Dave.
It's okay.
Don't, no physical violence.
No, he was shaving. So
Okay. Open video.
I'm still waiting on Nancy though.
That work? Okay.
Well, folks, I'm really glad I didn't fall asleep this time and didn't show up on time.
Really?
Yeah, the last time I was home alone, I ate dinner and then I just took a little nap. It's like, oops.
Oh, yeah.
But my wife was here tonight to make sure that I stayed
Woke up.
awake. Yeah, a month ago, she must have been at the shore or something. So I ate my own food and fell asleep.
Uh-oh.
It's not good.
Is Nancy gonna be here tonight?
I
Well, we
assume
think
so.
Okay.
I would think so. I know she wanted to make sure we shared the Step into September video that you made.
Oh,
Hopefully, we're going to be able to do that. I've got the link
Mhm.
up here because Andrea sent it to me.
Oh, let me make sure it's on for sharing, meeting settings, share screen. Okay, done.
Okay,
Alright.
good.
well,
Yeah,
I
my
was,
button is green, so I think I can.
Mhm.
Actually, let me click there. Let's see.
there was a meeting I attended last week, a Zoom meeting. We got Zoom bombed and it was highly inappropriate
Oh,
with
really?
Oh,
hardcore
no.
sex. So,
Oh,
that's
here
been
comes
happening in
Nancy.
schools.
yeah.
They're using Zoom.
Hi,
Here you
Nancy.
come, Nancy.
How are you?
Okay,
Hello.
now, Dave, you're the
Good.
last one.
Sorry, I was dishing out the last of my dinner.
Well, I hope it was what. I hope it was what did you serve?
Mhm.
Well, I used the rest of my tomatoes from the garden, and I made a
Mm.
fresh sauce with zucchini over pasta with some sausage.
Oh my gosh.
So,
Oh, that sounds good.
Hmm.
I had one of my faves. I had leftover
I
fried
can't see you.
rice.
Yeah.
leftover fried what?
Fried rice.
Oh, that's good.
House special fried rice, everything in it. Hello.
Mm. Yeah.
So I might fall asleep during the meeting this time.
That's the problem, right?
All right, I think we've got everybody. Hello, David.
Hey, Dave.
I think we have everyone here, so why don't we get started?
Okay.
First item of business is to approve the meeting notes for August the 10th, which Art put together. I think I sent them to everybody. Did anyone have any comments? Hearing none. Would anyone like to make a motion to accept them?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Yeah.
It has to be either you or David, and well, I would accept them. I think they're pretty good. So
Okay.
all in favor, let's say yes.
Yes.
And we're done with that. Okay, another piece of business. as you know, Keith Peters tendered his resignation effective with the last meeting. As it turns out, Keith was the vice chairman, who is the person who is supposed to, if I fall out the window or something, someone who's supposed to chair the meetings in my absence. So I guess we should have somebody to fill that role. And so I'd like to fill that role now, if that's possible. I would like to nominate Art to fill that position, if that's okay with everybody. All right, are there any other nominations? No. So all those in favor of Art taking on the vice chairman role? Say yes, 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 yes. Okay, Art, you poor fellow, now you have the vice chairman role.
I have an official role here. Okay,
I am now going to jump out the window,
Please don't.
having set the story up.
All right.
Okay, along the same lines, I have received an email from Kurt, and I guess most of you don't know Kurt very well. He has been on the tab board, I think, since its very beginning. At least it goes back to 2004, 2003, something of that sort. And he is largely responsible for the early days of putting the system together technically. And then he and I, when I joined in 2008, were sort of the technical arm of this group. Now that we have a kind of a store-bought system, there's much less for Kurt and I to do technically. We don't have to maintain something we built and that nobody has any other idea of how it went together. So Kurt has decided that at the end of his term in December, he is not going to renew his membership in this group. So we now have 2 openings. And I guess one of the things we should talk about somewhere in the course of this meeting is how we might fill some of those openings, because we obviously have a few projects to get done, and it would be nice if we had a little more help than just the 3 of us who remain.
Right. And just for information, today actually, someone sent an email in that they're interested. Obviously, it's a little late for the board to meet them tomorrow, so I reached out. We're going to see if we can get them to come in and meet with the board prior to their October 6th meeting. So the board, we'll see if that person fits the bill. The person indicated they do have some TV experience and, writing scripts and videos and stuff like that. So hopefully the board will feel they would be an appropriate appointment. We'll see. It'll be up to the board, but perhaps by your October meeting, you may have at least one new person. And then obviously Andrew, and obviously Kurt is still on the committee till the end of the year, but come January, you are going to be looking for someone to fill Kurt's vacancy at that point in time. So if you got somebody waiting in the wings that you've talked to, let them know.
My view on that is that if we come across somebody who is really qualified and who would fit, I'm pretty sure Kurt would be willing to tender his resignation early, so we could pick up that person. And I mean, not that I'm trying to get rid of Kurt, not by any stretch, but in fact, I'm rather sad that he's going. But if we find a good person, I'm sure we can engineer it so that the opening is available.
Can I ask a question?
Yes.
First of all, I just want to stop, and Jean, can't tell you how appreciative I am of the video that came out to Step Into September that all of you worked on. Really awesome. Super excited about that.
In a little bit.
You. So I know we're going to get to that, but this is part of the reason I'm mentioning it, is that I had talked to Stephanie about a film student at East. Would it behoove us to maybe try and get someone of youth, maybe like a junior, senior year, that could maybe learn from all of the knowledge and maybe be a little bit of the legwork for some of the things that Angie doesn't have time for, we don't have time for, but they could build their resume. And in the meantime, TAB could benefit. I don't know what the, Stephanie, I don't know if there's an age limit or it's just an idea.
Mhm.
And
No.
I think
Mhm.
obviously you probably need to identify within the board where the needs are. Because you want to, obviously you don't want everybody with the same skill set. I'm sure you want to round it out, but it's just an idea I was thinking about because I saw Max, not that
Yeah,
I
Max.
think it would be
Yeah.
him, but there may be other kids that are like him that would love that kind of opportunity. And it could be a nice way to also maybe connect with the school district and you guys could be
Sure.
like the leaders of that. It's just
Well,
an idea.
I just had a question. Doesn't the high school have something about community service? I mean, they get credit for community service. Do they have something like that?
Yeah, so there's Key Club and National Honor Society, but I think with TAB, it's so they're just looking to fill in so many hours, but they're not only allowed to get so many hours per organization. So this would be something almost like we could reach out to
youth
Angela
appointment,
Lynch, almost an internship kind of opportunity where they could come in. Maybe we have a goal for them specific, and have them, using Ed and Jean and Art and Andrea and Stephanie's sort of know-how. I could be the connector, but maybe there's somebody, I know there's probably tech groups. There's kids that do lots of that stuff for like the plays and things, but especially this year with COVID, it might be a nice opportunity. I don't know. It's just a thought.
No, I think it's a
It
good
doesn't have to be a
thought.
good thought either. It doesn't have to be.
It ties to the next item that we're going to talk about. And I already have alluded to this, that in the past, we really did two very specific things. We were involved in franchise negotiations, which was a matter of sitting down with the cable operators and grinding it out for long periods of time. We're not doing that anymore. We don't have to do that for 15 years. So except for Andrea, none of us that are here are going to have to worry about that. We probably won't be involved in this activity at that point. Number two, we constructed hardware systems, put them together and made them work. And now that we've moved into a more professional setup using outside vendors, I think the need for a technology-oriented person is considerably less. So my head tells me that most of the things we want to do going forward are to provide channels of communication and help to formulating whatever it is that the township's message is that it wants to get out. And that says to me, we need more people who can write scripts, who can direct activities, who can edit, can do all the sorts of things that are putting programming together, both of a short nature and a long nature. And we need a hell of a lot less of people who can run wires and solder connections and talk for endless hours on those subjects. But so I think it all relates together, that the nature of TAB is under change, has been under change for some time. Anyone have any comments on that? Because that does lead into the next topic.
Yeah, the other thing I could see, I don't know, is that you have some student that wants to get control room experience. I mean, just to sit there and observe or to help out in the control room on the nights where there are meetings to be broadcast. That's the only other thing I can see as a way of actual work or something they can learn.
Yeah, that's possible.
Working with
not a lot of space in there.
I know, but that seems to be about the only other consistent function that TAB is engaged in, along with the interns and Jessica. I'm sorry, Andrea, and in the function of the committee. So
I would probably just add one more thing. I had the opportunity to sit in at the Park and Rec meeting last week, and they're really focused on creating a social media presence. And I think they will invite you to understand what our presence is, because I told them that's really TAB's role in terms of, and Andrea's role and to put all that out there. I think they want to be creative among their group, but maybe, and I'm sure and I think Bike and Hike has also expressed it, but Park and Rec is like hot on it right now. Is there like some kind of documentation? Because they don't really understand what that means. Just like social media is going to bring all this money in amazingly, and I don't think they understand it's creating a social platform and have a marketing calendar and create, a campaign for awareness. So they were almost circumventing the township, and my last exchange with them was like, really need to work with the township, but maybe we could educate them on that, because probably every committee is thinking about maybe ways they could showcase, whether it's EAC or the Park and Rec or Bike and Hike, or, even like, hey, look, we just put this new traffic signal in, make sure you go a little slower. But maybe there's a formula or some kind of documentation to help them, like, and maybe Andrew could help with even what the calendar is like. So when do you have to get things in if you want it posted so it's in time so people can see it? Or, usually you start 2 months in advance for people to start seeing it. But people need to understand our numbers are not huge when it comes to following us, but they're there. We can start.
Yeah, and I think the benefit to the group, the benefit to the township is pretty obvious. If all of those different channels are available in a central place, and let's say some of those channels are pretty good, that enhances the township's reputation because it's all part of the same deal. But and assuming that there's things that we can do to help them make it good, then that's good for them too. As for documentation, the only documentation we really have is how people take videos, and it's a little on the young side. It hasn't been tested completely, but we have tried that. I don't think we've ever put anything together, Andrea, that talks about group employing social media for their purposes. So I don't know what we could provide in that regard.
Yeah, I think we have the initial social media policies that the Board of Supervisors adopted.
Yeah, that's pretty generic.
Not in turn. It's morphed a lot since everything kind of started with our, first, toes in the water on social media and everything.
Right.
So,
well, let's take a look at that. I don't think we ever even answered your first suggestion was a young person, a student. And yes, I think that's a great idea. I'm fully in favor of that.
Right. And just as a reminder, the resolution establishing your committee was that you have a committee of 5, I believe. So 3 are usually typically from the township, but 2 can be from other municipalities if they have the right technical background, or and when I say technical, whatever that technology might be, social media, camera work, scripting, they could be from other municipalities. So it could be 3 township and 2, David's from the borough, for example. So I know Max lives in Buckingham, so if he were interested, that wouldn't necessarily be a deterrent because he lives in another municipality.
I mean, I don't think living in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania would be a good idea.
Well,
no, probably
not.
Somewhat,
but let's try, hopefully narrow it down to like Central Bucks. How's that?
Yeah. So we don't have that kind of limitation in this group. And I think the terms are 3 years. So we also don't have a in and out every year kind of thing. So that's, there could be some stability there. Okay, I'm fine. I think I've said all I want to say on Kurt and Keith's leaving, but I would like to morph into the next topic. You can sort of get can already get a hint of where I'm heading with this, because I've changed the order of tonight's agenda to put all the stuff that I love and talk about at the end, which means everyone will be out of gas and I'll have to say nothing. We can spend all our energy on the programming stuff, because I do believe that our focus probably needs to be on the content much more than on the technology. But that's just me talking, and what I wanted to have here on the agenda was some input from all of you as to what you think. I don't want to spend hours on this, but I would like to hear from you if you have some comments on this.
Well, on content, is there any classification or type of thing that we haven't touched on recently or done? Maybe we can do something along those lines. I don't know. Right now I'm just kind of thinking, but is any public service kind of message, anything that needs to be put out that the county or the township would like to see that we haven't addressed on that? I don't know. I'm just kind of doing stream of consciousness thinking here right now.
But basically, what you mean, Ed, is focus more on providing content for the air and maybe social media and everything, rather than the technical stuff of getting your audio system going right and stuff like that.
Yeah. And I'm not even I'm not even focused necessarily on the TV channel versus social media. I mean, it seems to me the TV channel has whatever collection of viewers it has, but let's start by thinking it's probably a pretty small number, and so it's not a huge outlet for people, though there are some who do watch it. But there's the website, there's all kinds of social media stuff, and there's whatever we haven't thought of that we might want to come up with in the future. But in every case, we need to come up with something that if we create a program or a public service announcement like the thing for the EAC event on the 12th, it's suitable in being used in lots of different media, so that because people get their information in different ways. I mean, they even get it out of the newsletter, the people who actually read a printed copy. So somehow or other, we need to be focused more, I think, on content than we are on, should we buy this piece of equipment and do I need this connector? Though, frankly, I think since we did spend a lot of money on a very expensive system, you probably are due a report every so often on how's it working, and particularly if I'm coming up with ideas of how to spend more to do something differently. But I also don't think it should be the main focus. Is my basic idea.
Gotcha.
And I also don't want these meetings to go on unnecessarily, be unnecessarily long in length. But I do think they need to be long enough to handle whatever the important content is. So I'm really getting at something more generic. You'll also notice that the list of projects is a hell of a lot shorter than it was a month ago. And it's because I had a whole bunch of stuff on there, which are things that we're not currently working on. Trails video, opening and closing wrappers for our program blocks on the TV, a whole series of things like that. We're not doing anything with them at the moment. They sit there, they take up space on the agenda. If we're not going to do anything on them, then they maybe shouldn't be there, or we should decide to put it back on the agenda. I like having things on the agenda to remind me that we have or have not tackled the issue. I mean, it's kind of a tickler, like, oops, we didn't do anything on this. So I think taking them off has a problem. I think leaving them on is a problem too, particularly if we can't make any headway.
But COVID has sort of screwed us up this year in terms of getting stuff done.
Yeah. Well, on one thing, content, I think once we wrap up on the COVID problem, I mean, we'll have a few more options open to us on public events or events to be covered that could be put on, YouTube, the web, or on a channel. So I think part of the problem you're talking about, Ed, will take care of itself in the course of stuff. But we still overall have to think of other things that we can, block and put into the hopper, as it will. And that's going to take a little bit of a think. I mean, can't come up with it right now. Going to have to think about it. And there's also, I think, what you're considering too are things that can cross over from one platform to another. From TV to YouTube, or from YouTube to other social media or whatnot. Maybe we should be thinking in terms of what can we stick on Snapchat or whatever else, which are extremely short videos or extremely short content, and that can be showed over and over again. And I don't know about that stuff. I don't use those kind of things real easy. So I would need to spin up on that. So.
Should we put us like a calendar together, and then we could overlap it with whatever Andrea has, and that way committees, maybe reach out to the committees and ask them the things that are on their events. Like, yeah. I think I heard they were talking about the Santa visit at Central Park, which, I don't know if Joe Salvati has a date yet. Do you know, Stephanie?
Yeah.
I haven't heard anything about it.
So maybe we ask them for ideas and we can help them. I don't know.
Maybe, yeah, I think a calendar would be a good idea. The EAC does have a working calendar that I helped them create, and it's an online free calendar that anybody who is invited to it, basically, or as long as you have the link, can go in and add something. And there's different categories. We have events, the bird walks, when the information for the packet is due, and things like that. So maybe we could create a kind of a tab calendar, and the different committees could submit their events and possibly some bullet points of what they're looking to create. And then maybe the tab committee could meet with the other committee and discuss what the video could be, what we could do, what we couldn't do, and see if it's a project worth getting into.
Jean, would it be like because you and Andrew are the experts, is it something you can do like 30-second videos? Is that
I'm no expert.
Is that any less work? Because what Jean did was really extensive. It was beautiful. But
that was a little over a minute, I think.
Yeah.
I like doing shorter things.
Or 15 seconds, just something to go, oh,
yeah.
We all know our attention span is short because of, I don't know what that formula is. Because I think they also need to know, the committees need to know, so they don't think they need to record this big, long thing. It might be less intimidating, too.
Yeah. Well, I think with like the short videos, I mean, I'm sure you saw what Karen did with the Fido float. You can literally use Facebook or I'm sure there's other free programs where you just upload pictures and words, and it's not necessarily like you're not really making a video, you're just making like a slideshow in a sense, and that creates a video. So
animating a slideshow, yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, honestly, like that's easy enough that any board or committee could make that on their own. But if that's something they want to send to the tab and have the tab make it, but
I don't think that was your goal. I remember Ed saying that early on. But if you educate them in that document how to do it, here's how to make your 15-second.
I hear Keith Peters
right?
in my head.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, I think it could be worth creating that document and giving it to them. If they utilize it, great, but they could also want the document so bad, and then once they have the document, they don't actually pull through with anything. But I mean, we could easily create a document how to make a 15-minute, slideshow.
Right.
If you guys want to do that.
I know Bike and Hike and the park have both expressed of the two committees I'm on. So I'd be curious.
Of wanting to create a commercial like that, or wanting to
I think they just want to
program?
showcase their stuff. Like they wanted to do something, with Pump Track, they have different ideas for things. So you can say, this is what it is. So let them formulate it. you be the resource. I think that's what I heard early on the committee is that.
I mean, what I would do if I were to create some kind of document is I would probably Google how to create a slideshow using pictures. And that's how I would figure out how to do that. So if that's something they would want to have a document on how to do it compared to Googling it themselves, then yeah, we can make that document for them.
I'm all in favor of all of this that we're talking about, but I'm asking a much more, I'm about at the 30,000 foot level. Is this a direction that we want to go? I mean, we're already diving into how we would create content and how we would sit with the committees. The question I'm asking is a little different. Is that an appropriate focus for this committee? And if so, should our agenda focus on that, talking about those projects? Or is there some other form of this committee that you think is better?
I think it's appropriate. You know, what you're proposing, I believe it's appropriate. If you remember, you know, all that distant past, we were worried about, you know, the new building construction. That took you up a year. We worried about the bicentennial, and that took some time and focused in.
A lot of time.
But what those things did was it kind of overlaid what the function of the committee was. In other words, they became special long-term projects that just took up, but it didn't address a refocusing of the whole committee because we were so engaged in the weeds and those things. And I understand now what you're asking is that now those other things have kind of gone away, and now we're looking at an overarching thing of the direction this committee is going to take over a long period of time, and an evolution of the committee. I think it's appropriate now to talk about it.
And at this stage of the game, we have 2 openings.
Right.
So here we are talking about things that we could do to help other groups. One of the key things that we'll have to do, if that is the path we're going to go down, we're going to have to fill those 2 openings with people who are available to do some of that lifting.
Yeah, so this is the perfect time. We are presented with an opportunity. It's like you have lemons, you know, you make lemonade kind of thing.
Right.
So I think it's appropriate, and I think it's not something we're going to, you know, there's not going to be a burning bush out there, and then a puff of smoke and the idea is going to come to us. It's going to take a little thinking.
And what's number 2, Ed? Ed, you said there were 2 things. One, to help other groups, and what was the other?
I think you said there were 2 positions open.
2 positions open.
Two people, 2 bodies.
Oh, no, but before that, I thought you said, never mind, doesn't matter. When you said, now we're ready to change, 1 by helping other groups, and then I thought there was going to be a 2.
Well, maybe there was, but I've lost it.
Okay,
so.
okay.
I'll tell you what I would suggest. I mean, basically, now that I've broached the topic and we've had kind of a first exchange about it, let's mull this over the course of the next month. And if you have more to add, we'll pick it up at the next meeting, and let's see if there's anything else pops up as you ruminate on this over the next 30 days. But for now, it seems to me we'll keep going down the agenda, talking about content, and we'll try to put some other things at the end, but very short.
Mm-hmm.
Because I think what we have here in the content area is from everything we've been saying, kind of the chief focus.
Okay.
To that end, if it's okay with you, I'm going to move on down the agenda. We're going to go into programming projects. First item on there is the video metric. I'm beginning to think, as easy as it is to produce this report, I'm also wondering if it's worthwhile at this point, at this stage. This tells us in the TV channel that we're 89% of the time is filled with video content. And it tells you different genres that went up and down. Lo and behold, if you have long Board of Supervisor meetings, that takes up more time, and we have to take other things out to compensate, but we're still staying very much above the 75% threshold level that we wanted to be. What this doesn't tell you is what's the age of that stuff. And one of the things since Keith has left us, he every day, every month went through some mysterious procedure to change the schedule, which I think was a matter of taking the collection of programs we had. Let's say you had 7 days worth of programs. He went boom, he slid them over by a day and brought one back. So the programs were different days, but fundamentally they were the same. Now, I think there were some other things he did on top of that, but I'm believing that the content that's in there has probably been in there for a long time, and has, so maybe we're showing anonymous people 3 days a week, and a month from now we're showing them 3 days a week, but it's different days. I mean, that's about all that's going on. And we change the Board of Supervisors meetings. We take things out to make space to fit the Board of Supervisors meetings. And if we have a short Board of Supervisors meeting, then we fill it up with other things. So that's about all that's happening. And that tells me that the content is rather static. But I'm also not focused on that, because I don't think the TV channel is a major outlet for us. I don't think that, I mean, the TV channel, I'm not giving my technical report, but we have audio outages about once every 10 days. I don't think we've had any calls on that. This past weekend, we had a video outage. It probably went on for 2 days until I noticed it, went in and restarted things. I don't think we had any calls on that. So I'm hard pressed to say that we have some hardcore audience out there that's just tearing the door down, trying to get this, trying to watch the TV channel. I don't want to overspend time on that outlet. It seems to me
Yeah, I've got a question.
not much of a return.
It's even though it's not the driver, but isn't that the focus on how we create our videos and content? I mean, that's our first thought. And
No, that's how we create our Board of Supervisor content. And in the past, we've used that equipment to create interview meetings, who we are and what we do. There's a couple other things we've used when we had boards and commissions reports. We would take them, we would slice them into pieces. In fact, I think you did it one year, Art. Slice them into pieces, and then we put those reports up in the program. So every so often, if you turn the channel on, you come to the right time. Lo and behold, there's Keith Peters giving the TAB report in 2019, and he's got his 8 minutes of here's what TAB was doing that year. Right now, we're showing 2017, 2018, and 2019, which for the most part, 17 and 18 is irrelevant, and 19 is very close to being irrelevant. We didn't do any this year, so we don't have anything to take its place. But we use that equipment to produce those videos. Most everything else is done with your camera or the Lauson's cameras or Keith's cameras. So for handheld cameras that are taken out to create.
Well, that's actually what I'm talking about. I'm not talking about using the township equipment to do stagnant meetings. I'm talking about that seems to be the focus of why we take our cameras out to do videos.
Yeah, sorry.
That's what I'm talking about.
Okay, mistake.
And going back to your other point, just to kind of come back around, if we change the focus, then we change to YouTube or something else, our cameras will be going out to doing that. And that's the point. That was the point I was making.
Yeah, and they do that now. Yeah. I mean, the bicentennial video went into the time capsule, went onto the TV channel, and it also went up on YouTube.
Yeah, so there you go.
So we've been doing this for a while now, putting things in multiple locations.
Yes.
Now, along that line, I mean, I want to talk about the programs we have on the list here. I want to tell you about two others that aren't on the list. There's a whole series of programs that we've done over time called Walk with a Doc, which are Doylestown Health presentations. I believe they meet monthly. There's a Dr. Comezzo who chairs this thing. He has sessions at the hospital, and they invite residents to come listen to a short lecture and then go for a walk, or I think that's the order in which they do it. And for the last 2 or 3 years, Keith Peters has been once a month going and setting up and recording these sessions. He had a whole kind of formula to the way he did it. And we've got a whole bunch of basically half-hour programs out of it on a whole bunch of different medical topics. So our medical library is actually pretty good, and it's not totally out of date. Keith obviously is not doing that anymore, and we would need somebody who could be available on whatever schedule it is that the Walk with a Doc happens, would be willing to go out, set up, and then edit together a program. And there are specific rules. You can't show the faces of the residents. You can only, so he gets the lecture, he shows them walking away and then opening and closing. So the question is whether somebody would be interested in picking that up. It's a once a month commitment. And if nobody's interested now, we'll wait to see if we get new people who would be willing to do that. But it's been a pretty good source of programming for us, and a good link to the hospital.
No, 2 questions. I thought Keith said that the thing was in hiatus because the doctor that was doing it had retired.
They have one this Wednesday.
They have picked up something new.
It was gone for a while because of COVID, but it's back on starting. And in the warmer weather, it's Wednesdays at 8 a.m. and in the colder weather, it's at noon on Wednesdays.
Okay, so I wasn't aware it was starting up again.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have an email from Dr. Comezzo that Keith contacted him and told him he wasn't going to be doing it anymore. So I haven't answered the email yet who is going to pick it up, if anybody is going to. So if anyone's interested, let me know, and I'll put you in contact with that doctor. That's one thing. Number 2, I don't think I got a chance to send it before this meeting, but I just heard from Barbara Sperry, and in fact, they have got the 3 videos completed as of today with the voting information. I haven't looked at them. I have a link to get them, download them. And so Stephanie, we should probably try to, on Wednesday, I guess, try to take a look at this and see what they've got, and see whether it fits our criteria. So those are 2 things we work.
Maybe we can share that with everyone that's
I can
here.
certainly share the link to the whole group.
I'd like
That
to
would
see
probably
it.
be helpful, because
Yeah,
then we
I'd
can,
like to see it.
everybody can view them and see if they're informative, if they kind of aren't necessarily, what they do, I guess. I don't want to pass
Apolitical.
judgment until I've had definitely apolitical and informative, and could be helpful, and obviously from a perspective of it will take up, offer something new and content on the TV channel, so to speak. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah, I will email you all with it in the morning, and I will maybe even tonight, but I myself won't get to look at it until Wednesday.
Okay.
So that's those 2 things. Art, you want to tell us about the coronavirus vignettes?
Well, sure. First off, I want to say thank you, Jean. I got an email from this past weekend from Jean saying that she's got one in the can, as it were, from an interview. So that.
Well, it's not edited; it's just taped.
Yeah, well, that's what I mean. No, it's
Right.
it's now been done. That was the point.
What was the length of the interview? Well, how much time?
Oh, It was about 30 minutes, I think, maybe 35. But, you know, what did we say we wanted these? Yeah, can we review what our plan was? Or were we going to put all of these into one program, or were we also going to air them separately? And if so?
I think the idea was they're all separate. They're all standalones.
Okay. Okay.
Everybody, so you know, everybody does their own thing, because if you start putting a bunch of them together, you might have a number of hours, and I don't think anyone's going to sit and watch a number of hours.
Yeah.
So you know, to have them as standalone was the idea, and then
Okay.
that's something that we can keep and, you know, have and broadcast or put on YouTube, or to put it into our own, to the archives of the township. Also, as for me, just to let you know, I did put out a request from people I know for to see where they want to. These are folks that are not in the township, but in the area. And I sent Andrea some information on one fellow that wants to participate. His name is Joe Lockett. He works at the airport. And I think it would be really interesting to get a perspective of what's happened there, and also his own job at the airport. And just as we were speaking, I looked at an email. I got a second positive response. So, I mean, that's 2 people and 1 request I put out just from yesterday. So I'm hoping to hear more back. But I will be passing that along to Andrea after the meeting. This other person's information.
So Art, what is it with those 2 people? What's the next step?
Well, for them, that I would pass the information on to Andrea. Andrea would then send out the letters that we discussed for the contact information, because I don't want to make it to something that I want to put out to the folks at my contact. This is not just coming from me. This is coming from the township.
Right. Okay. So that the letter goes out.
Right.
Receive it, and they're still positive. What happens after that? Just tell me a
them.
little bit the process.
Well, then letter 1 comes back. Letter 2 goes out, gives them the basic information. They will schedule with me, and I'll do what Jean did, which was to set up a date and do hopefully two interviews.
Okay. So Jean, did you go through this 2-letter routine with?
Well, Andrea sent them, although I called them up because I know them. I called them up first and got a verbal, like you did. Yeah, that would be really good. And here's who I think, you know, should participate, could tell the story and everything. And then, so then Andrea officially sent him the letter. Yeah. And then they, both letters he got.
Well, with me, these are the people I know from my other volunteer group, and I always communicate with them by email. So that's nothing new.
Yeah, email. That's what I meant. Email.
Yeah. So.
Well, I also spoke to the 2 names that I suggested and kind of cranked their arms behind their back. They were both of them they were reasonably interested in doing it.
What were yours again? Which was yours again?
Well, the Mark Frank, who's the owner of Barley Sheaf Farms,
Okay.
and your dear neighbor, Doug.
Oh, I was going to suggest a barber and a hairdresser because
Barber and a haircut place.
Yeah.
But in the case of Dougie, I don't even know if he has email. So,
Doug, yeah, well, he has a.
yeah,
I think he has a cell phone. You could text him or something. I don't know I'll see. Maybe I have his email. I'm not sure.
if you have it.
Doug
Yeah.
Yednick.
Doug.
Yeah.
So anyway, Doug's a little reluctant, but
No way.
But he's a perfect personality. He'll be fine.
He's perfect. He's like,
And Mark
you
Frank,
find out the gossip of the whole town when you go get your haircut there.
yeah, all kinds of good dirt. Anyway, I think they'll be good, but I haven't had a chance to get around to do anything about it. And I wasn't sure how we proceed. I'm not sure I want to be the one doing the interview. So is there maybe someone else could do that, but.
I'll get back some responses, and then we'll look at it.
we'll get it from there.
Well,
Okay.
I know Doug. I know Doug. I wouldn't mind doing him at all, and I
Okay.
could do my hairdresser and put that into, I don't know, into one thing. I don't know. It depends on how long each one would talk.
Yeah, we could maybe put them together somehow, but
Yeah.
first we get the basic one and go from there.
Yeah.
All right, so there's
I'm
there's two
assuming,
more.
can I just ask a question? It is, or are we, I'm assuming we are, creating sort of an introduction that would be the sort of the beginning and then a closing and then the interview in the middle?
Yes, I was going to
That
ask
would
that
be
same.
standard, that would be standard,
I think we'd have to.
that maybe we
Yes.
could have Nancy do or something?
Yeah,
Do-
I mean, it's a good idea to have a standard opening and closing.
Are you talking about her writing it or voicing it?
Well,
Yeah.
either one, if she feels comfortable with voicing the writing or voicing whatever she feels comfortable with, or we can all kind of maybe write it up. I mean, I don't think it needs to be long.
No, it should be
I
short.
think it should be short, but sort of, you know, in these times of COVID, you know, the Township Telecommunications Board took it upon themselves to interview people in different walks of life to tell about the challenges and the resiliency that they met the COVID-19 pandemic in Doylestown Township. And, you know, then you interview Doug, this guy, you know, and Doug talks about what it was like to do that, you know, not work, or how he had to modify his business, yada, yada. And then you come back to Nancy and thank you. We want to thank and whether you add the word or the name or just a general thank you to the participants of the video on this thing, on this pandemic, and
Yeah.
some inspirational closing.
Yeah.
What do you think, Nancy? She's good.
Oh,
I
look
have
at
someone at the
Tyler.
door right now. It's not pretty, so I'm staying muted.
We
It's
get it.
work.
Thumbs up? Thumbs up. Okay, she's
I
in.
think we-
Okay.
All right.
All right.
So
Okay,
we sort of have an idea how to proceed. I'll send Mark Frank's email to you, and Jean, if you can find Dougie's email.
Okay.
I mean, he barely uses a cell phone, so I don't know how well this is going to work.
He doesn't, he only answers it for special people.
Yes, he does. Yes, he does.
He has two phones, I know
And
that.
he calls certain people too. Anyway, all right. So that's coronavirus interviews. So sounds like we have some things rolling on that.
Yeah.
Oh, can I, a point?
Yes.
Stephanie, I know you were talking about Cornerstone.
Mhm.
You know Jim at Cornerstone?
Mhm.
'Cause he just
Yes.
shut down his Warrington location.
I did.
Oh, did he?
Yeah,
Mm.
and I think that would
Okay.
be a really good story to tell. Would you want to
Sure.
interview him?
I can. That would be fine.
Okay.
That's easy. Okay. Well, I'll reach out to Jim Bishop tomorrow.
There's
Or,
a little
well, maybe
wailing and
today.
gnashing of teeth in this house.
Tomorrow might be a little crazy. It's a board meeting and like it's a busy day and budget. So definitely call Jim Bishop though.
I mean, if you want, I can. I'm a member there. I wouldn't mind doing it but if you have
That's,
I don't have a personal
Yeah.
connection with him though.
That's-
You're happy to
that's
do
fine.
it?
I've
Okay.
worked with him. He's, you know, township business. We've worked with him over the years. I
Okay,
mean,
good.
he's been a
Yeah.
sponsor of the golf balls for many, many years, you know, kind of thing. So,
Yeah, good.
you know, he participated. Yeah.
Makes
So,
sense.
okay.
Okay. Anything else on the coronavirus video?
No, I'll follow up with the other people that I sent out invitations to. And I'll send a backup email to the folks who said that they're interested to make sure that they get in touch with Andrea. So, or,
What about
that
this-
Andrea will, I'm sorry, the other way around, that Andrea will get in touch with them.
What about the school people? Who had the school people contacts? Was that you, Nancy, or?
Yeah, I think it is.
Boy, it's a little bit of a hot potato over there. they're trying the best they can. There's a lot of emotion around.
Yeah.
There was different options. Some of them fell through because certain teachers, enough teachers went out on FMLA that they had to rehire. I think depending on who you spoke to would tell you how great or bad it is. I could reach out to Angela Lynch. It may be an awesome opportunity for the school district to show case, or maybe like a Jason Jaffe. Maybe I use the technology angle of Jason Jaffe and how they really, it was almost like starting a company from scratch, the way they had to accelerate all of their technology in a short period of time. Maybe I could do that angle. Maybe that's a safer way.
That's good.
What do you think?
Yeah, I think going neutral now, because I think you're right, Nancy. That's I mean, it's a 50-50 on, in-house out, Zoom, whatever, but how they dealt with the Zoom, the remote classroom, that would be interesting to have someone speak about that and have that on video for, and I mean, I think, as your part of your intro or your closing is having these videos similar to like the bicentennial, where we, had interviewed all these people and information in the events, and then put it in a time capsule. Granted, we're not doing another time capsule, but having this for, as Dr. Feldstein used to say, posterity, having that, I think is really important because, future generations in the community might want to look back at this and realize what we went through in 2020.
Yeah.
I mean, it's such nimble thinking to be able to be flexible and decide.
Mhm.
There's a lot of incredible skills that came out of it.
Oh, yeah.
Quick decision making, right? You have 80% of the information and you had to make a call. That's it. That's all you got.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And it was changing daily, as we all know.
Yeah.
So, all right, I'll reach out to either Jason or maybe Lindsay Smith also works with him, and I can do an interview.
Okay.
Okay.
That's no
That'd
problem.
be great.
Good.
Yeah. Would be nice to get one of them in. That'd be, I think, a great adjunct.
I agree.
So,
And the other one, if we want to take it from another, I can reach out to Terry Jackson at Delaware Valley University. She's Dr. Gallo's, staff and everything. And she was tasked with setting up the return to school aspect this fall, and what would be handled, on Zoom last year, and then, remote learning, and what would be, and how they would address back to school and in on-campus learning.
Mm.
So she would be a very interesting, I mean, it's a big institution that sits in the township. We work closely with them. I think it, might be nice to include them in that, if you feel comfortable with me reaching out to Del Val.
Okay.
Who are you talking to?
Terry Jackson.
No, but who to have who reach out to?
No, well, I'll reach out to her because I know
okay.
her.
Okay, good.
Yeah, I think if
And
you
if she's
know her,
interested,
that's perfect. That's why I
Yeah.
talked to Doug, because I'm sitting in his
Mhm.
chair. I've got perfect opportunity. So
Mhm.
I think that we take advantage of things like that.
Mhm.
Anything else on vignettes? We're coming up on the 1 hour mark, so
Yeah. Time to move on.
Okay.
let's move right along here. The September 12th event has come and gone. We've all noted what a great ad Jean put together with the help of Andrea and assembling the pictures and videos. If you want, I have it here. I can share the screen and show it. I think it's about a minute and a half, but I think everyone except maybe Art has seen it.
Yeah, that's true. I'll go on and watch.
I'll send
We
you.
can watch it.
We can watch it. It's awesome.
Want to watch it? I'm going to send. All right, let's see if I can figure out how to share
You
this.
share your screen.
If
Go
we can
ahead.
share the screen, yeah.
If I can do it.
Technology challenge.
Technology challenge number one.
I mess it up every time I do it, so I left it to Ed.
Okay, let's see where is this damn thing? All right, I think I have it up. Now let me see if I can get it. Here we go.
So far, so good.
Step into September on the
Make
trail
it big.
on Saturday, September 12th, starting at 11 a.m. at Pools Corner Park and Ride Lot. You can walk, run, or ride on the trails. There will be an opportunity to see the new pump track at Fanny Chapman. For those more adventurous, you may want to explore other trails and destinations via the Doylestown Community Trail Network on your own. Can't make it on September 12th? Don't worry, we have 30 miles of trails you can access on your own at any time. In addition, many of our trails link to trails in other communities, like Doylestown, Chalfont, and New Britain boroughs, as well as Doylestown and New Britain Township. The Doylestown Community Bike and Hike Committee has spent over 25 years building trails throughout the community. We've created a brochure with trail information and map. You can download a copy from the township website at www.doylestownpa.org. When you arrive at Pools Corner, take a moment to see the newly planted trees. The tree planting would not have been possible without the assistance of Doylestown Boroughs and Townships EAC's Jeff Schumacher and Associates, and a grant from Bucks Beautiful. Step into September on the trails would not be possible without a grant from Pennsylvania DCNR and the Pennsylvania Environmental Council, and our partners Chalfont, Doylestown and New Britain boroughs, and New Britain and Doylestown townships. See you on the trails.
Awesome.
Nice job.
That's really
Excellent.
terrific.
Would that
I
be
like that
something-
voice.
No. Would that be something you would share at a Board of Supervisor meeting, Stephanie? I mean, I'm so beyond proud. Like, I'm always in awe with the volunteers, but I also think anybody watching will be like, oh, and the other supervisors may go to their own committees. Hey, here's an example of what they can do. So when you do it, I don't know, it's just a thought.
We can do it.
Yeah.
No
We
problem.
can. I mean, it's a reminder. I mean, we've done these in the past for Touch a Truck and other events, but you know,
Centennial event.
it's that reminder that this is, I mean, and here's the whole thing. Those are all, I mean, some of the video of Tom riding and stuff was taken previously, but it was what we already had available. And then photos that volunteers, they just took photos, right, Andrea, and provided the photographs.
Yeah, it
and
was
some of the photos
volunteers
that we
photos,
had.
photos I had.
Yeah, and then some video that Jean had, and Jean's voice, you know, stringing. I wrote the I guess
Text.
script, if you will,
Script.
and sent it to Jean. You know, and Jean strung it together and made a 1 minute, you know, pre-event clip.
Awesome.
And we had 700 views. Andrea, is that right?
Yeah.
Yeah, 700 views on social media.
Which I think
Free,
also
you
tells you the need, right? That's what they connect with, seeing that quick video.
Mm-hmm. And I mean, here's the thing. I mean,
You
if
want to
you're,
give this in your report? If you want to give
Mhm.
this in your report, let us know. And
Oh,
we'll,
it'll be in my report 100%.
so we'll, tomorrow night,
Yes. Oh, yes, sir.
so that we'll try to have this queued up. If you get to that point, we'll bring
Way
it
to
on.
go,
There we
Ed.
go.
little coordinate, more technology to coordinate. But
I just
we'll do
think I think the supervisors would be super proud. Anybody who watches, and it may get some wheels spinning. You know, like, oh, okay, and that's really the whole
Mhm.
goal.
Right.
Yeah, we were doing a lot of those promos prior for the bicentennial. We did a similar promo actually for each event. We did a
Yeah.
promo.
I think we did that one.
Pine to
We
Pink,
got a
we
whole
did that. You know, so it's, but I think it's a great reminder of kind of bike and hike and tab coming together and making it just a simple. Well, okay, maybe it wasn't so simple, Jean, but
Informative.
Well, look at the
informative.
one
Thank you.
look at the one we
An
did for 10,
informative commercial. you know.
What we did for 10 days for trees, which we couldn't run.
Oh,
It never made it to the public.
There's a beautiful.
COVID.
out there.
Yeah,
Because we had to
yeah.
cancel the, I know.
That one was.
10 days for trees got canned because of COVID.
Anyway, yes, we'll have this queued up tomorrow night if you want to talk about it.
Great.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's see, where were we? So that event has come and gone, and I think for us, the big deal out of this is that we can do that sort of thing. And yes, this is a pretty good commercial for what we can do.
And just real quickly, everybody, as Nancy said, she put us in touch with Max from CB East, and he's a member in CB Cares and everything as a teen. He came to the events on Saturday. He was at the tree planting. He was at the bike thing as it kicked off. And he also went over to Fanny Chapman and got video at the pump track and also photos and video of PhytoFloat. So he's going to kind of do the post-event video, if you will. Probably maybe string the two at Pools Corner together with the pump track and then obviously PhytoFloat. So just real quick on that.
Good,
Cool.
thank you.
Great.
All right, I am pretty much out of gas on the programming side unless someone has something else they want to drop in there. All right, I think we're up to social media. Do you want to?
What was, excuse, but you had on the agenda something about school district contact?
Yeah, I think that we just talked about that with the person that Nancy's going to contact.
Oh, okay, okay.
That goes.
Gotcha.
And it kind of goes with coronavirus.
Yeah, well,
Okay, that came
I
under.
think it's that and more generally. I mean, Angela Lynch is the one who's come to speak to us, and
Yeah.
frankly, nothing ever came of it.
Yeah.
But
She's on overload. Yeah.
this is not a good time to be poking at them.
Yeah, yeah.
So I think whatever Nancy does to get something on how they've handled with the coronavirus will tide us over until things get more settled down, perhaps. Okay, so other than that, I think that we've covered everything on there.
Okay.
Social media, you have a couple brief words on that, Andrea?
Sure. So I did send out the social media spreadsheet prior to the meeting, and we continue to increase in our followers and our engagement in all the platforms. Though we did have more posts for this month, and then our followers and likes increased, as well as on Twitter, our followers engagement and all of that increased. We did have some more engagement on Instagram. I started working with even though we've been doing it, the EAC has been sending me photos of the garden this past summer, and we're doing a look what's blooming. So it's basically a post and you're saying, oh, look what's blooming at this time of the year. And there was about 5 different kinds of plants. So that got a lot of views. And we've also increased in our subscribers to the email marketing. And even though I've been pushing it, we're not getting as many subscribers as I'd like, but all I can do is continue to push it. And if people want to subscribe, great. If they don't, then, I can't force them, but,
how many email addresses do we have?
A little under 200.
What does the email push out? What's on the email versus what they can find on social media? What's the difference?
I mean, it's kind of similar content right now. But not everybody uses social media. They might just want an email compared to social media. So right now it's, they can decide if they want park and recreation information, events, news, but it's similar information to what's already on the website and what we put out on social media, because it's a good way to use the same content on all the different platforms. It's just a different way to get the information.
You have 200. Has the number increased or decreased in the last 6 months?
It has. So if you look at the spreadsheet, you can see from April to now, it's increased.
It's more than our
Maybe
whole,
Nancy could talk about it at the meeting and try to encourage more people to, you know, engage that way as well.
Yeah. Yeah.
I was
Always
telling
put
the
a little-
engaged. That's why I'm asking is that, you know, Tab's really mindful of making sure we're staying engaged, especially with COVID. And there's, you know, besides the social media platforms of Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter, you can sign up for emails. That's really what we want to make sure people know.
Yeah,
Move
just
overly,
encourage them.
yeah.
There's multiple ways to receive township news. They can sign up on the homepage of our website and receive news, or also follow us on our social media platforms.
yeah, one reason for seeing if we can build this arsenal is if we ever want to consider putting together an electronic newsletter, we're going to have some way to deliver it. And at least email is one of the best ways to do that. And right now we're at a very minor, I mean, we have what, 6,000 residences. So there's probably at least 9,000 email addresses, 10,000 email addresses in the township. So we haven't even really
Yeah.
broken
Well,
it yet.
yeah, and with there was talk about, you know, with having the Robley and potentially utilizing this year's summer concerts and having a township tent and having iPads and having people kind of come up and sign up right there and then. But unfortunately, we weren't able to kind of roll that idea out because we didn't have any summer concerts. So, you know, hopefully
Right,
there's
and people
an opportunity.
Yeah.
Hopefully there's an opportunity when we can gather again to have people sign up on the spot instead of, you know, filling out a piece of paper at the booth and then coming back to the computer and typing it in. This way, if we get them on the iPad, they put it right in and now they're signed up. So hopefully we can have an opportunity to possibly do something like that later on.
Yep. Okay. Anything else on social media? All right.
Yeah, sorry, sorry about the phone. The one question I just wanted to ask is that I noticed last a couple of weeks ago when I was looking on the calendar that's posted, I was trying to find our YouTube, our Zoom meetings, and it wasn't there. I had to go someplace else to look for it. And I was just wondering whether it was possible to add a link in the calendar when it talks about past meetings like you do for the supervisors meeting, to put the links to all of the committees that have a Zoom meeting, you know, onto that calendar, on the main calendar.
There's a reason we don't do that, which is to avoid Zoom bombing.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
And since you experienced that as early on, I mean, as you said, you were on a Zoom and
Yeah,
got Zoom
you don't have
bombed
to, okay,
inappropriate
I don't need a
content
further
in.
explanation. Okay, I understand.
Yeah,
I understand.
yeah.
Or
And
did
the
you
borough-
see
borough
the
township
archive
doesn't.
of the live meetings on the website?
I saw our past meeting, but I don't remember seeing an archive.
Okay, so if you go to the
Yeah.
township homepage, there's a blog section on the front page and it says, I forget exactly what the title, but virtual, like the live stream meetings. And it's basically a list of every single live stream meeting that we've had thus far is accessible on the homepage of the township website. So if you're looking for a specific one, it has the name and the date.
I think that's how I found the last meeting when I was double checking myself and putting together the minute notes. That's what I was looking.
Yeah. And if you're ever looking for something on the website and you can't find it, feel free to call me, email me, because I know where everything is if it's there. So yeah, feel free to reach out.
I will definitely do that. Thank you.
Okay.
All right, that was a useful discussion. Thank you. Quickly, I've told you most of what I was going to tell you in the operations side. We still have Comcast problems and they have not yet committed a date to fix them. We had a problem with our digital recorder over the weekend. That's the piece of equipment that I had to restart on Saturday. And we've had a variety of different Board of Supervisor meeting issues. Some of them pretty bad. But we've had the vendor in both for phone support and in person, and a whole bunch of things got tweaked up and fixed. We have some things we're going to do differently going forward. So Andrea, look for a little surprise tomorrow. We have a couple other things we have to do before the meeting to make sure everything's working right. But I think we're better positioned now to get through a Board of Supervisors meeting without falling flat on our rear end. That would be nice anyway. The only thing in here that we have not talked about, and I won't spend any time on it tonight, you can see there's a audio control panel for public address control with an $1,100 price tag. I am considering applying the same control panel logic that we're using for our broadcast channel onto the public address system. It would be on the same screen, it would be the same controls, and it would allow us to visually see everything at once. And there's some programming involved, and they've actually cut me a break at $1,100. We have something like $5,000 left in our savings account, and we also have about that amount left in our budget for 2020. So I'll put some information together and send it out to you all so you can comment on it for the next meeting. But I am at least contemplating going down that road to get our controls in better shape. And that's, unless anyone has any questions, that's all I need to talk about tonight. Yes, David.
You need a vote.
No, he's going to send out information. We're going to talk about.
I'm just informing you that I'm considering it, but I'm not making a proposal tonight.
Gotcha. Thank you.
Okay, Verizon, anything happening with their negotiations, Stephanie?
Not at this point.
Okay. All right, does anyone have anything else they'd like to bring up tonight?
No, sir.
So at 1 hour and 17 minutes, I guess we're finished.
So what time does everybody have? What is it now? 7:47.
I have
47.
Mm-hmm.
All right,
Thanks, Jean.
all right.
Welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Take
everybody.
care. Have a
Good meeting.
night.
Good night.
Bye.
See you tomorrow.
See you tomorrow.
See you tomorrow.